Hi guys, and welcome back to another video. If you're new here, my name is Valentina, and today I want to talk about pros and cons of living in LA. As many of you already know, I lived in LA for around 3 years. I came here in 2016 to study English and then do my TOEFL exam, which is like an English test, and then I did 1 year of a certificate at UCLA, and then I worked in LA for a year. I went back to Venezuela, and right now I'm currently in LA again. So honestly, it's been a while, and during these years I've had the opportunity to live in different places. When I was studying, I lived for a year in West Hollywood / Hollywood. It's like right in between the border of Hollywood and West Hollywood. I actually have a video talking about that and how I really didn't enjoy living in Hollywood. I'll link it down below for you guys if you haven't seen it. And then I lived for a year in Culver City. I absolutely loved Culver City, and then I've spent a lot of my time in the South Bay as well. So honestly, I feel like I've been kind of around and I know the city somehow well. I'm not the person that knows all the restaurants and that knows all what's going on in the city because I am pretty calm. I enjoy being in my apartment. I enjoy staying home and reading a good book and hanging out with my family, with my boyfriend, with my friends. However, after a few years of knowing this beautiful yet crazy city, I have some things I love and some others that I don't love about living in LA. So if you're thinking about moving here, here are some things I would like to share with you and that I would like that someone shared with me before deciding to come here in 2016. Honestly, with what I know right now, I would still, I'm glad I made that decision 4 or 5 years ago. It was really good. I've grown so much. I've learned so much from the city. But before we get started with the video, I want to remind you that if you're new here, you can subscribe to my channel to support my content and like this video for more content like this. And now let's get started. I have 5 pros and 5 cons of living in LA. So let's start with the positive side. Let's start with all the pretty, all the things I love, and all the things that I think are great and that are kind of worth paying as much as you pay to live here. The first one, of course, is the weather. The weather here is absolutely amazing all year round. Yes, there is kind of a winter, but there's no snow, and the lowest temperature I've seen here is, well, this is gonna be hard, but I'm gonna put the numbers here for you guys. So it's 5 Celsius degrees. So I have to translate that to Fahrenheit, but I'll leave everything here. Honestly, that's the coldest, January, insanely cold at 5 a.m. type of thing. So honestly, the weather is just perfect. It can get a little hot in the summer, especially if you go inland a little bit. So downtown LA or even Culver City. If you're closer to the beach, it never gets really hot, maybe 1 or 2 weeks out of the year, which is really nice. So if you like a stable weather and you don't like real seasons, this is a great option for you. I come from a country when it was summer all year round, and even though I love warm weather, I kind of like the more cold weather during the winter, but it's nothing. I don't have to deal with snow, which is beautiful for 1 or 2 days, but then you get tired of it. So I can't complain with the LA weather. I wish it rained a little bit more. Number 2 is that you have a lot of access to nature and the beach. I love the beach. I, again, come from Venezuela. We are a tropical country. I live 45 minutes away from the Caribbean. I love the beach. It makes me happy. It gives me energy. And even though these beaches are completely different to what I'm used to, I love it, and I love the energy, and I love connecting with the water. I don't know, there's something beach energy that I absolutely love. So that's a big pro for me. But if you don't like the beach and you're more like a mountain type of person, there are a lot of options as well. I feel like LA is close to so many things. There's the Sequoia National Park, there's Yosemite, there's Lake Arrowhead, Big Bear. If you like the desert, there's Palm Springs an hour and a half away. So there are a lot of options and a lot of places that you can go around LA that are really good to connect with nature in many different ways. So again, a pro. Another thing that I love about LA is how open-minded people are here in general and the diversity. You can see anyone, all kinds of people. And I love it because I come from a city where that was not a thing. We don't have a lot of diversity, and seeing how open-minded people are here and how everyone's doing what they want to do and everyone's being their true self, or at least I hope a lot of people are. I feel like here there's a lot of like freedom to be whoever you want to be. Like the city allows you to be who you want to be, and I appreciate that. So I feel like there's space for everyone depending on what you want to do, and I really love that. And I feel like the city really opened my mind in so many different ways and has given me such like a, I don't know, a bigger picture of the world, and I love it so much. Like there's so many cultures, so many different foods, which I absolutely love. I didn't even like Mexican food before I came to LA, so I don't know, I feel like I've gained so much experience and knowledge, and I just love experimenting new things. So that's a great city for that if you're looking to like open your mind a little bit more. If you come from a smaller city like I do, even though Caracas is not a small city, but with the people I was involved, we all knew each other. Like if you talk about someone was gonna know that person. Here's like everyone's doing what they want to do. No one's worrying about what you're thinking, what you're doing. So it is really great. As long as you respect everyone and are nice to everyone, I think this is a really good city for like growing emotionally and spiritually. I don't know, I love it. I really do love the diversity in LA. And number 4 is related to what I said before, so I didn't want to dig too deep into it before. It is food. I love the food scenery here in LA. There are so many options. The only critique I have is there's not enough seafood or how close we are to the ocean, which is annoying because I love seafood. I love my seafood. I love sushi. There's a lot of sushi, but there's not a lot of like actual fish, and I don't know. I feel like I haven't found a lot of like good restaurants in LA that are seafood based. But besides that, food is amazing in general. I've tried everything again from Mexican food, which obviously here is everywhere, and it's delicious. It's so good. And then I remember going to like Little Ethiopia and trying Ethiopian food, I guess that's how you pronounce it, and I absolutely loved it, and I never had access to that food before, and it was so delicious and so rich in flavors that I absolutely love it. Have I had it again? Probably once or twice. It's not like I have the Ethiopian food every single week, but I don't know, just having access to all the cultures through food, I feel like food is a great way to know the cultures. So really grateful to have all these options and being able to try many different restaurants, even though I'm limited right now because I am in a FODMAP diet, still eliminating things and trying to figure out what's going on with my stomach. But I love eating. I love food. There are very few things I don't like, and even less things I'm not willing to try. Like I try everything. If I don't like it, I won't eat it, but I love trying new foods. So something I love about LA. And number 5, there are so many things happening all the time, so many museums, events, concerts, outdoor activities, and I love that you always have something to do and there's always something free to do. It is a very expensive city, honestly, but it also gives you a lot of free events and things you can do in the city to enjoy it. So I think that's a really good thing about it. I don't know, it's just, there's always something going on, which I really appreciate. And now let's move on into the more negative part, which I don't like to talk about this, but also like you have to be realistic. A city can be your favorite city in the world, even though I don't know if LA is my favorite city in the world, to be honest, but I almost came to call it a second home because of all the experience I lived here when I was like studying and working here. But yeah, let's talk about the negative parts of LA. Number 1, you need a car to go anywhere. Public transportation is not the best, and unless you work and live in downtown LA, if you live anywhere else or work anywhere else, a car is something you must have. And even though I love driving, traffic can get really crazy, and again, there's not many options to move from one point of the city to another because public transportation is not available everywhere. I don't know how much I would use public transportation, but I know this can be a deal breaker for a lot of people. Number 2, and this one hits me hard, is it is insanely expensive to live here. Maybe it is not New York, it's not San Francisco, but it is still very expensive. Again, you're paying for good weather, for a great, like a city where a lot is going on in, but it is very, very expensive, and I don't feel like people is like, well, people make more money in LA than in other cities, and that's how you can afford to live there. Yes and no. Like when you compare like the average salary in LA versus somewhere else, and then compare like the price of a house in LA versus somewhere else, it doesn't match really. Like it's a lot easier to buy a house with a lower salary in a different state than in LA, where you might have a better salary, but prices are insane. So like rent in houses, it's just crazy. And honestly, that's a big con for me, because again, it's just harder, you know? I would love to buy a house, but I don't see that in my near future, at least not in LA. So again, it really depends. There are people that don't care like paying a super expensive rent as long as they're here. So it really depends. There's not an actual downtown area. Yes, there is downtown LA, but it is so tiny, and the actual city of LA is so spread out that you get lost, and there's so many different neighborhoods, and it's all a lot of like huge. And when you look at LA County, it's even bigger. So it can get a little bit overwhelming because it is this huge city. I think it's like 10 million people living in LA County, which is insane. It's huge, and again, it can be very overwhelming. I don't know another way to describe it, but there's so many neighborhoods, so many things going on, but there's not like one actual city like you have in New York. Like you can walk around and and you're gonna find something everywhere and anywhere. Here's like, you're gonna pass by a lot of neighborhoods that are only houses and there's nothing else in there, and then you'll be in downtown LA, and then you'll pass a lot of like freeways. You're gonna spend 20 minutes in the freeway, and then you'll get to Pasadena, and then you'll spend another 40 minutes in the freeway going south, and you'll get to Marina del Rey. So it's just, again, you need a car, and everything's really spread out. So there's not really like a city itself. Like yes, there is downtown LA, yes, there is Santa Monica, but besides that, I think it's hard to find like an actual walkable city area. Number 4, it can get a little fake. There's a lot of people really consumed by this, like even influencer life, or being famous, pretending to be something you're not. It does happen. Again, I've known awesome people here with the best feelings and with the best hearts, and they're awesome people. But I've also met people that are not their true selves, and that are really, I don't want to say fake, because I don't know if that's the word. There's a lot of people pretending to be something they're not. I know personally, I don't like to be surrounded by those people. It's something that sometimes bothers me a little bit, but then it's just like, well, ignore those people, focus on the people you do care about. It's not a big deal, but it is something that sometimes, or that it used to bother me a little bit more. Now I don't really care. And finally, I feel like as any big city, it is very competitive. It can get really competitive and really self-centered in a not a really positive way. So again, everyone's working to be the best. Everyone's working to get the big house. Everyone's working because there's a lot of money in LA. Like there is, like, the industry of the entertainment here is huge, and there is a lot of money in it, but it is very competitive. And like technology and things like, it's just, they're competitive industries, and I'm not a competitive person, which is kind of bad. I actually should be more competitive, but I don't like competing with people, because I get scared. Let's be honest here. It's not because like, oh, I don't care. No, I'm just get scared. I'm a very introvert person. I have social anxiety. I have anxiety, and I don't like getting myself into those situations. So I just like take a step back, and I don't get into that. So I am terrified of like competing with other people for anything related, like job or whatever it is, and so I don't like that, but I guess that's something that happens in any big city. So yeah, those are the general things I like and don't like or see as pros and cons about LA. Some of the pros can be a con for some people, and some of the cons can be a pro for some people, so this is really subjective, but I just wanted to share a little bit of my experience with you guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, again, please give this video a thumbs up, and leave me below in the comments, why are you watching this video? Is it because you're planning to move to LA? Is it because you're planning to visit LA? Do you already live here? So I want to hear you, I want to hear your story. So leave it down in the comment section for me. And yeah, that's it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.